Personal finance has a brand new problem. Because like many, probably like you, the moment that that word is said, your eyes just glaze over immediately. You instantly think spreadsheets, budgets, everything that is ultimately boring. And for me, most of my life, that meant on a Saturday morning where everyone else is out doing fun, interesting stuff, I'm in my house looking at numbers. And honestly, I did the same exact thing. I kind of put it in the back of my mind and ultimately just didn't follow through with it. That was until one day where I looked at my bank account and I had zero clue where any of my money was going or what it was doing. Now, I was earning decent money. I wasn't necessarily spending it, and yet I would still look at my account at the end of the month and still have that low-grade panic that everybody talks about. I can never quite really explain it. Not broke, just not ahead. Almost like I was running on a treadmill, but I couldn't quite slow down. The good news is that nowadays, you don't need a finance degree to figure this stuff out. After a lot of reading, a lot of fact checking, and to be quite honest, a lot of trial and error, I managed to get it down to just 3 simple rules. And if you follow these 3 rules, you will almost certainly be better off than the majority of people around you. Not because these rules are secret or complicated, it's just because most people have no system at all. No guilt trips, no jargon, just 3 simple things that can get you results. Let's get into it. As I should say, I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. But take it from me, someone who felt constantly behind to turning into someone who actually feels in control of their money. I think you can get a lot out of this, especially if you're just starting to figure this stuff out. Rule number 1, the 50-20-30 budget, or as I like to call it, the budget that does not suck. And yes, I know, the first thing we're talking about is budgeting. But before you check out, I am not gonna have you track everything you've ever purchased and turn into some sort of human calculator. That's not a budget. That's a part-time job that nobody asked for. The 50-20-30 rule is by far the easiest way to get your money under control without complicating everything in your life. Here's how it works. 50% of your income goes to needs, the boring stuff. Rent, food, bills, and transport. Again, the boring stuff. 20% goes directly to financial goals. Savings, investments, paying off debt. This one comes out first. The second that paycheck lands, that 20% goes somewhere else and you act like that does not exist whatsoever. And 30% is for fun. So we're finally getting into the good stuff, the fun part. This is your takeout, your clothes, your spontaneous trips that you like to take during the weekends, whatever actually makes life enjoyable, because at the end of the day, that's actually what matters. Now, the reason why this actually works is because this is reliable. This lets you handle the necessary stuffs, build towards your future, and let you live life at the exact same time, without having to track every single dollar that comes in and goes out. Now, does this exact ratio work for everybody? No, I would never give you that bland of advice. If you live in an expensive city, for an example, in most cases, and probably all cases, that needs budget will need to increase. If you're trying to build wealth faster, you can bump that 20% up to 30%. And both of those are fine. It's just about keeping that framework to start with. Because the biggest mistake is, of course, not having a plan at all. The 50-20-30 rule gives you the simple, automatic process to assure you know and understand where your money's going every month. Rule number 2, the good investments should be the ones that put you to sleep. So let's talk about investing. And I know, when people hear the word investing, they think about picking the right stocks, time in the market, and trying to be the next Wolf of Wall Street. But here's the truth. The best investments are the boring ones. And if your investments feel exciting, you're probably doing it wrong. The reason why most people lose money in the stock market is not because the market failed them. In most cases, it's just because they were impatient. They chased trend. They panicked and sold at the wrong time on the first drop. And then they watched the stock recover without them. Think about this. You plant a tree, and every morning you dig it up to check the tree's roots. It's not going to grow. And it's not because trees don't grow, but because you keep interrupting the process. Checking your portfolio every day is the same exact thing. It creates anxiety, and anxiety creates decisions. And decisions almost always cost you money. So here's what boring investing looks like in practice. First, buy index funds, not individual stocks. Index funds will grant you access to hundreds of companies all at once, which in turn indicates way less risk. Second, invest automatically, setting up something like a weekly or even a monthly deposit. So that ensures even if you're not thinking about it, that money's still being transferred without you actually having to manually do it yourself. And third, the easiest part, leave it alone. Do not touch it, completely forget about it. No stock tips, no day trading, and no stress. Just consistent compounding growth with you not having to lift a single finger. The S&P 500 has averaged a modest 10% per year over the last 50 years through crashes, recessions, anything catastrophic that you can name. The ones who came out on top were not the ones refreshing their phone or thinking about it every second. It was the people who left it alone. Boring wins every time. Number 3. The conscious spending rule. This is the one where most financial advice loses because it always ends up in the same place, right? No Starbucks, no takeout, no fun. No spontaneous plans, just cut out everything completely and then suffer through it, all in the hopes that one day you'll be financially free enough to do whatever you want whenever you're old and not able to take advantage of the fruits of your labor. And truthfully, I do get the logic, but it does not work because simply put, deprivation has a breaking point and everybody hits it eventually. You white knuckle for a few weeks and then one bad day happens. And one day you spend $400 on something that you really didn't need. It's the same exact reason why crash diets almost always fail. You can only suppress the impulse so long before it snaps back even harder. The better approach is to not cut everything, just spend more intentionally. Pick 2 or 3 things that genuinely bring you joy to spend money on. And for me, it's an expensive gym. Again, it's completely a want, but it's something that actually brings me joy. It's not something that I think will bring me joy. I know it deep down. Without that, I would be a completely different person. Now for you, it might be travel, could be good food. It could just be some sort of technology, maybe a new phone every now and again. Whatever it is for you, spend it. Zero guilt. Then just simply look at everything else. That subscription that you have on autopilot, that habit purchase that you make at Target that you really don't need, but in the moment it's something that you just want for whatever reason. Everything that you spend money on that doesn't add any benefit to your day-to-day life. And then just simply cut those aggressively. Not because you have to go without those things. It's just that money is better repurposed on either of the 3 other categories that we spoke about earlier. If you love travel, but you don't care about fancy restaurants, book the flight and then just cook at home for the most part. If you love clothes, but you don't really care about what car you drive, very simple, right? Just buy the clothes that you want, and then whatever car that you can get for a modest amount of money, just purchase that or continue driving the one that you have. We all understand give and take, and we all value things more than others. This rule just keeps you honest about what things matter most to you. And this is actually backed by behavioral economics. Studies show that when you're deprived for too long, people tend to snap and go back into their bad spending habits. By spending money on things that you actually enjoy, you're making it a lot easier to stick to good financial habits for the long term. Spend money on what you love and cut the rest without hesitation. This is the whole rule. So to recap, rule number 1, the 50-20-30 rule. A dead simple budget that simply works. 50% needs, 20% future, 30% life. Number 2, the boring rule. Good investments should put you to sleep. Index funds are the way over individual stocks every day and on Sunday. Number 3, the conscious spending rule. Spend on what you love, forget about the rest. Follow these 3 rules and you will be ahead of most people whenever it comes to your finances. Let me know down in the comment section below how much mileage you actually got out of this. I'll see you in the next one.